Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Empowered Conversations. Today, I am so excited to interview and speak with my guest, Jenell Kelly. She is an international catalyst coach, a registered nurse, and global health and wellness business owner. Janell is on a mission to share with as many people as possible the trainings and tools that took her from being an out of shape, overworked, and stressed out ER nurse to a thriving, happy, healthy, and successful businesswoman who is positively impacting the world health and coaching others to their success. As a certified Clarity Catalyst coach and transformational trainer, she incorporates a 40-year-old methodology based on her Stanford University Master's degree program in mindfulness and emotional intelligence, along with a step-by-step business blueprint that allows others to achieve their physical and financial goals. All right, everybody, help me in welcoming, drum roll, Jenell Kelly. Hey,
Hello.
Janell.
Hello. How are you?
I am doggone fantastic. How are you?
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, you're in the sunny area of Florida.
I am. It's absolutely beautiful. I love this weather this
Yes.
time of year.
Yeah, it's gorgeous here too. It's like 76 degrees.
Nice.
Yeah, so nice.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So I love just to get deep, dig real deep, and find out like your heart centered, like just fervent, passionate why of going from like this stressed out, overworked ER nurse. Like what epiphany, what happened, transpired within you that one day you were like, whoa, there is so much more to this, and I'm meant for more.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great question. Thank you. And as you're asking that, I'm like, something else just like opened up in my mind. So when you say there's so much more, boy, that takes me back to my teenage, late teenage years, early 20s. I grew up in Pennsylvania and in a very like a smaller town, but things were great there. I had my
What
friends.
town?
It was called Croydon, and it's in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just, I had a great boyfriend at the time. I was already in nursing, involved in nursing at the time. I had gotten my licensed practical nurse, certificate. And I was just like, there has got to be more in life than this. So when you just said that, you just like, that just like in the side of me. And so I decided to pack the U-Haul and move to South Florida.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, are you serious? Where are you going? And I'm like, I don't know, to South Florida. They have palm trees, they have coconuts, and there's got to be more in life. And so here I was and just loving it, didn't know what I was doing, very young. And I just totally just moved out of my parents' house on my own for the first time and just making my way down here. And then I discovered in nursing that you could become a travel nurse. And I was oh, that, because there's other places I can meet other people. And I had to go back to college to become a registered nurse in order to do that. And I did. And I enjoyed travel nursing for about 6-7 years. And then finally was back here in Florida and went through a major traumatic injury, which, shifted my whole world. And sometimes, all the time, I believe that if something occurs in our life that completely stops us in our tracks, which that is, and it was, I did not have mindfulness and stuff at the time, or emotional intelligence tools to know how to deal with the stress of that. And it turned my whole world upside down. Being told you're not going to go back to work again, you're not going to be able to walk appropriately again, and really just fighting the medical system that I had worked in and loved, and to get my health and everything back. But I believe when the universe comes and stops us in our tracks, it's actually to shift us. Maybe we weren't listening. We weren't paying attention to our intuition. We were too busy with the noise of the outside world.
Right.
And so really, this is where I get to look at everything as a blessing. Like that was a blessing, even though I lost my home and, health, and everything was like down, 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 down. And it was a major comeback. I can look now and go, well, I don't know what would have happened if that didn't happen.
Right.
Right. So where I do know it led me is to here today and to is happy and grateful. So that's where that gratitude, to be grateful for everything. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's not always easy in the moment, but if you just trust, that's something
Yeah.
I can
And
trust.
speaking to that concept of what you just said about the universe leading you in a certain direction, because I am of this fervent belief that when you do nothing about a situation, or you're ignoring a situation that may be happening through different situations in your life, but it's a similar energy that's being created through this, what we would see, deem a negative situation, hurtful, painful situation. When you do nothing, or you don't pay attention to the lessons that are learned, or there's a reason that there's supposed to be a mindset shift so that you create something more, as you mentioned earlier, something that's better, more aligned with you are and your core values, the universe will then show up time and time again and give you these explosions. And in your case, it sounds like it was a physical, like there was a tragic, physical, painful experience
Yeah.
that, like, whoa, wake up. I mean, I had one a couple of years ago, and it was like just being slammed into a wall. That's metaphorically,
Mm-hmm.
driving a car 1,000 miles an hour, slammed into a wall. And if that hadn't happened, I would be doing something completely different than what I'm doing right now. But what I'm doing right now is part of my life's purpose.
Yeah.
And so see these situations. Hey, Siobhan, see these situations as for you and through you instead of to you. I don't care if it's loss of friendships. I don't care if it's loss of job, whatever it is that is for and through you. And if you want something more,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, you have to shift the attitude about the experience to create something better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do believe that's where, for me, I'm so passionate now about sharing like emotional intelligence and transformation training,
Yes.
because I handle situations that occur to me so much differently, because I'm sure people have heard of this. You'll have two siblings, maybe grow up, same household, same
Yeah.
whatever, and one comes out one way, one comes out a completely different way, regardless of the situation of the the
Exactly.
home environment, which plays a huge part on everything. But it's a mindset then, like if we stay in the victim mode.
Right.
So victim mode is not, some people can't even handle me talking to them about a victim mode. They're like, what do you mean I get payoffs? Yeah, you get payoffs for staying there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so only when the pain of missing out on what could be is greater than the payoff we get from
Yes.
staying comfortable and victimy, only then will we change when that pain. So that's kind of what happened to me when I made the big shift, because I did go back into nursing. And, it was interesting because I went into it with a different set of eyes after that accident. And I went back and I thought, because ER trauma was my specialty. And I remember going back going like, dear God, these nurses, they work like dogs. Like, is this how we worked? Like, I didn't even realize it. And when I recognized it, I ended up getting into management, which I never wanted to do as a nurse.
Right.
I did because I figured if I want to make a big impact, then I'm going to have to step up and be heard and make change. And I did. So being a nurse was definitely my passion and my purpose. Like I loved it until the day I realized that I didn't want to do it anymore.
Right.
And I just stood there. I was 44 years old, and it has been what I had done since I was 17 years old. And I stood in my office going, well, I don't want to go back to college, and I don't want to go up in management, and I don't want to go back to the bedside till I retire. Like, I know everything I didn't want to do, and I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. This is all I know. And I trusted. But those 2 years that I trusted that something would come along, they were painful. They were hard. I didn't want to get up and go to work anymore. Something that used to fill my heart with joy and love, and I jumped out of bed for, I was literally getting nauseous the night before thinking I had to go to work the next day.
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't used to living like that. Like I wasn't that person. I couldn't understand why people had jobs that they didn't like. And so now I was that person for those 2 years. And then something came along. By the way, that sometimes what we want is right in front of our face.
Absolutely.
We're very judgmental creatures, and we have expectations. So if things don't show up the way we think they should, we don't even see them right in front of us. Again, where mindfulness and emotional intelligence has changed my world to drop expectations and I'll always be a judgy wedgy bear, but to be very aware of my
And
judgment.
that's, oftentimes that is difficult, even for those of us who are in that realm of emotional intelligence and conscious
Yeah.
living. But, you were absolutely supposed to have that nursing experience for all those years as a part of your journey, just like I was absolutely supposed to be in the operating room because I love watching surgery and selling surgical equipment. But that doesn't mean that was where I was supposed to remain throughout
Right.
the rest of my career. And, and again, what's happening through us, with having those experiences. So tell me about like this. So you were a nurse, and then you said that you realized that you dreaded going to work and there was something more that you were supposed to be doing. What then was that? Hey, Kim, what then was that?
Well, for 6 months, it was being put right in front of my face. 6 months.
Right.
There was a fellow nurse trying to introduce me to something. And I was like, I don't know what I was doing, but it wasn't a no. I just couldn't even, it wasn't in my ability to hear it or see it, if that
Right. You
makes
didn't
sense.
have access.
Yeah, I was like, I was too busy being stressed out and exhausted and feeling like crap to
Right.
let anything in. And so then it was 6 months, and I finally called her and said, hey, so tell me about this stuff, because I'm really exhausted and I want to feel better. And I was, not feeling good. My weight was off. As a healthcare worker, we have like the worst habits sometimes for the majority from what I could see. And
If you look at the majority, I mean, not well. Just look at some people that are in the healthcare field and the way they're not as healthy as one would think.
No,
In healthcare.
for me, it was emotional. So you don't realize, no one teaches you when you become a nurse of the stress that you're going to deal with. No one teaches you the ability of how to handle life and death, for me, in trauma on a regular basis for years on end. No one taught me that I had 300 employees that all are their own people and their own energy and my patient's energy. No one told me that.
Yeah.
So by the time I realized it, I was exhausted. Like when I say it, I mean mentally, physically. It's not an environment that sets you up to win with your health either. It's 13 hours. We didn't get breaks. Like we're on our feet. You get told you can't have water at a nurse's station, like not setting people up for success. So anyway, the nurse introduces me to, it was health and wellness. It was nutrition, right? And I was like desperate. So I said yes. And then when it all arrived, I was like, I'm not opening the box. Like it was my journey. It's so funny. It was like worst
resistance.
Oh, completely.
Yes.
Totally resistant. And then I started putting this stuff in my body. So the company I'm with is Isagenix. They've been around 20 years. I love our nutrition. Put it in my body, and a couple weeks in, I'm like, what is this stuff? I was like, what is this? Like everything. So I started to have energy, and I started to have clarity, and symptoms that I had from the injury, the previous injury, had started improving. And I had been dealing with them for 5 years at that point. And I thought, I've been looking for something natural. Because by the way, as a nurse, I was a no to like every medicine they were trying to give me. I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole, and I didn't want the side effects. So I was very stubborn, and I'm glad I was. But this started to make things feel better, and I needed to know what it was. And then lo and behold, I found out you could actually have a business and earn money. And I wanted to share it with everyone.
Win-win.
Right? You could have paid me nothing, and I would have told people, because all of a sudden I was like, oh, I don't need to be exhausted after my shift. I can actually have energy. I can actually still be awake and be nice to people.
Yes.
Right? It was so good. And so a few weeks later, I went in and stepped out of management, and now everything starts. That's like the beginning of my whole change, and decided that I was going to build this business. And through that company, I was introduced to self-development.
Right.
Yeah. Had a weekend with David T.S. Wood. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I have, yes. I'm very familiar with Isagenix and their products. So, with starting to put the Isagenix products into your body, not only were you detoxing and ridding your body of a lot of the inflammation that was caused by stress, and by maybe how you were fueling your body prior and then being overworked, but you were also alkalizing and bringing proper nutrition to the body through those products.
Yes, ma'am.
And again, that probably opened up an awareness, and you probably had mental fog. And now all of a sudden you're feeling better. You have more energy. When we have more energy and we feel better, our brain tends to work like on fire.
Oh,
I know
it's
that, like, if
amazing.
I'm tired and I'm not feeling well, I mean, I don't have bright ideas and sudden epiphanies, but it's when I'm on my game and this, feel like I'm on fire. That's like, oh, I need to do this. Oh, I should do this. Oh, I could do this. Oh, you know?
I
Yeah.
know you hit the nail on the head,
Yeah.
right? Because that stuff helps balance your cortisol levels. It works on the adrenals, all these adaptogens. And what was
Yes.
beautiful as a nurse was I was really growing old. It was growing tiring me to watch patients coming in at a younger and younger age with chronic illness, right? With our diabetes. I was majorly involved in our stroke program, especially here in Broward County, helped revamp it, decreased our door to needle times for when you have a clot in your head. But then I started to realize,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm putting all this time and energy into something that's like freaking preventable. Right?
Yes.
So
Thank you.
yeah, so that was heavy on my heart too. Like it was hard to keep seeing people come in, and we're seeing people having strokes at a younger age and diabetes at a younger age and shortness of breath due to obesity. And so all that like was heaviness on me, and
Yeah.
I know that now in like retrospect. So when this stuff came along, when I tell you I've been shouting it from the rooftops for 4.5 years, I don't stop because it has shifted everything. And it just, like you
Yes.
said, that clarity, it took the fog away. And I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
snap. Right. And
Yeah.
then you add in self-development. I went away that weekend. Like I literally have goosebumps right now because I'll never forget a wall of some kind. I didn't know what was happening. I was so welled
Mm-hmm.
up with emotion. I was like, I mean, when I say I was mortified sitting there. Like I
Right.
wanted to get up out of my chair and leave. Like I have goosebumps sharing this with you. I don't really talk
Yeah.
about it.
I love it.
Because I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know where this was coming from. And I was embarrassed to be sitting there falling. And here it was just years of just, I had no idea what.
Thank you. Yes.
And standing in a circle with 6 other people, and now we have to go around and you just share what you're grateful for. Like you just
Yes.
wanted to, okay, but at that time, I like didn't really have anything. Like I didn't even know what to say. It was just the weirdest, uncomfortable thing for me. And so I was just saying stuff because other people said it, right? Do you know, like 4 months later, I took people who are now my team and my friends, right? And I took them to that event. I took them there. And I'll never forget when we gathered afterwards, the one young lady goes, I'm so embarrassed. I said, why? She goes, I was sitting there bawling my eyes and I'm all smiling. I'm all great. And I just stopped for a second and I said, I was you. I'm like,
that's a beautiful experience. Sorry.
right? That's
Yeah, I
okay.
cut you.
So much changed in 4 months. I was like, holy shit, I felt that way 4 months ago. And this time, what are you grateful for? I was like, pop, 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 pop.
Oh yeah. Oh my
Right?
God. Or if somebody told you to write down 10 things that are awesome about you, I bet you could go do.
Oh, girl, give me like a 20
Yeah,
notebook
I
now,
have. I've
right?
been in a situation where I was. It was a seminar for oils for the aromatic oils. I think it was Young Living. Anyway, one of the exercises was write 7 things that you love about yourself. And because I've been doing this for a long time, I've been doing this work, this self-development work for over 20 years. I mean, I was just like, and then I happened to notice that all the other people in the room were just sitting there. And I realized like how sad that is. But so many people, again, if you're not aware of what, of the awareness of your worth and value, then you're going to remain stuck. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just means that you need to open up that space to create that awareness for your life. And that's what being at that seminar did for you. And and then that was a release, that bawling. But I bet soon after it was easy for you to go, oh, I'm grateful for this. Wow. I'm grateful for that. And then to see someone else have that beautiful experience of bawling, that it was nothing to be embarrassed about.
Right. I was like, no. And so
Beautiful.
it's partly why I love, like, you can pick any vehicle. That's my vehicle, right? Like, I feel like I designed that. I created that. I don't know where it came from. I did that, and it's my vehicle in order to support other people in feeling better and having energy and being able to take care of themselves in a way. But there's so much more than just the products that go with it. And that's what I say. And for the right people, they tap into something that's so much greater than themselves in there and so much greater than the product. And it was due again to Isagenix, the end of the first year. I hit this, top rank, and I wanted to go further and talk about having support. I never experienced anything as beautiful as this team that was lifting me up. They saw things in me I didn't see in myself yet. They gave me the blueprint. They did everything, but I was hyping myself. And I'm thinking, I've never wanted anything more in the world. And if it's like, I almost had to laugh at it though. And I'm going, why do I was noticing my self-sabotage coming in, coming in, coming in. I'm like, why am I just not doing it? And someone had said to me, oh, you're ready for gratitude training. And I said, sign me up. I have no idea what it is. I have no idea, but it's in South Florida. I'll find it. I'll go. Sounds great to me. She didn't even tell me anything more. She said, you're ready for it when she heard my story. And I was like, cool, I'm open.
Yes.
This place is 2 blocks from my house. It's hysterical. It's 2 blocks from my house. I didn't even know it existed, right? And talk about now that's a deep transformational program.
Yes.
That's like cathartic exercise. That's like take that Band-Aid off, open every wound. Because the only way, oh girl, the only way like out is through. Right?
Yes.
So you get to look at all your crap.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And you get to also learn to love yourself while you look through.
Absolutely.
And breakdown, we celebrated breakdown. And it's just, I came out of that. Joe Engelson was the creator of that program down here. I went through, and I not only did I go through my own program, then I went through and captained and coached others. And then I looked through and became the trainer. Like I went through, I took the course, right, to become a transformation trainer. And all this to grow my Isagenix team bigger. That's what it was all coming down to, because it's a relationship and it's a people business, right? And I can only grow that team as much as I grew myself. And I knew that. And so here I am 4 years later, and like, it's erupting, like, and the energy and the people that I'm attracting, like
absolutely.
Trainer is now signed up, like the one that trained me,
Yes.
I was like, look at this energy and these amazing human beings, and everyone just wants to support and help other people. It's beautiful.
And it opens you up to a different perspective of what is possible for every single human being on the planet. And I did something similar. I did Legacy, which is the same. It was Breakthrough 1 and 2, and then there was Leadership. Whereas y'all have Gratitude 1 and 2, and then it's what was the ultimate? It's like Manifesting Good. What is it?
Oh, our third part. So we had 1, 2, and 3. And 3 we called, what the heck did we refer to it as? Well, we did our legacy projects and stuff in 3.
Legacy,
so
right.
Yeah.
Masterful Living.
Yes, we have that too. So we have Masterful Living, and there's another course too that goes into the part 3. So yes.
Yeah. I wanted to read this about gratitude training gratitude trainings are an opportunity to uncover and redesign the underlying assumptions out of which you live your life, such that you experience a profound shift in your ability to relate to yourself and to fully engage your heartfelt commitments with freedom and passion.
Yeah. It's so beautiful, right?
It really,
I know, just sitting here like, yep. And I'm loving, like I just sat here for a moment as you were reading that, and I thought to myself, like, so grateful and thank you for this space to like share this, because this was my wanting to always bring everything together, right? So my bringing things together, like when I met that gratitude community, I thought, oh my God, they get to come together with this like Isagenix community. These people are just, I never met anything like this. And within this past 6 months of my life, the unfolding has just been so clear that is exactly what's happening. And then this beautiful conversation with you, that both things are actually coming in this conversation, because I didn't come here, I didn't know it was coming out, so thank you for the space and being part of this too.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so honored to have you here.
Thank you.
And, just in everything that we're talking about, like, gratitude is about being grateful, but the trainings themselves, again, just evoke so much within, because every single human being has their baggage, they have their pain. And so many times we operate our lives from that place instead of seeing what else is possible. And have you ever read the book, The Celestine Prophecy?
Oh, I have that book, and I read it a long time ago.
Yeah, me too. I read it in 98. But when you mentioned the victimhood, living through the victim mentality, the control dramas that and I remember one of the ones that sticks out is the poor me syndrome. And when you were talking about energy that one receives, whether you're an interrogator, whether you're a dictator, whether you're a poor me, it's like when when you're whining and complaining, you learn somewhere along the way that being in pain and talking constantly about your painful situations or being in a victim state, that you get energy from people. Oh, it's okay. Oh, wow. Are you serious? And I even went through my own place of being in that state of poor me when I was pursuing pharmaceutical sales after college. I was going into pharmaceutical sales because someone told me, Stephanie, you would be a dynamite drug rep. And I'm like, well, what's that? And they described the job, and hell to the yeah, I would have that. Okay. And I tried with every ounce of anything that exists within me to get into that industry, and literally was within so many different job offers. I'd be the final candidate down to the final two, and then wouldn't get it. And it's like, why? Because then I saw Kevin Trudeau's natural cures they don't want you to know about. And as you mentioned earlier, you see healthcare isn't about true health care and health and wellness. It's about sick care. And I realized that I was pursuing something so fervently that was not in line with my core values, because I had been on the true health and wellness journey, for so many years. It doesn't mean that pharmaceutical drugs aren't necessary in certain cases, and drugs and surgery, absolutely. But it's like, there are so many people that can avoid heart attacks and strokes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol by their lifestyle and what they're choosing to fuel and feed. And again, nutrition isn't just about what you're putting into your body. It's about what you're putting into your mind. And when you talk about the personal development, and I mentioned to you earlier about Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and what I loved about that was where I became certified as a health coach, is it was a mind-body approach. They had 4 areas of primary foods, and which was primary foods were your exercise habits, your sense of spiritual practice. You can be an atheist and still have a spiritual practice. Your job, your career, and then your relationships. And you could eat kale and broccoli and exercise and drink super greens all day long, but if you hate your job, or you're in a miserable relationship, or you have toxicity, you're still not
exactly
in a good balance. So health and wellness is more than just what we're fueling our mouths. It's what we're fueling our eyes and our hearts and our souls.
I couldn't agree more with you. And that really tapped in for me when I started to share nutrition. And then I'm a good enroller because I was so excited. You wanted it. You're like, you don't even know what it is. Okay, I'll have it, because I was so passionate about it. Right. And so then it was like, people would get it though. And some people they were like how I was, so I was glad that my girl pushed me, but they don't want to follow it, or they don't want to put it. So I always say, you can give somebody a little blue pill and tell them to take it at 3:00 every day, and they'll have $1 million, and every problem will be solved, and they'll have the best health in the world. So take this at 3:00 every day.
Yeah.
You don't miss it.
And that's easy.
We're going to get to about day 4, and they're going to say, oh, I missed it. Right? Why would you ever miss that? Right? If it was going to give you everything you ever desired. And it's about self-worth. It's about the conversation we have on what we're worth and what our value is. Because a lot of times we'll give. Like my always thing, I say, you can't serve from an empty cup.
Right.
And that's what I was trying to do. And it's exhausting and it's draining. And as women, I think, and especially as women, men too, but especially as women, and anyone who's in the industry of being in service to other people, or anyone who has their own children, like, do you not do for everybody else, you'll do for yourself. You're not doing them any good, by the way, because I'm not saying you don't take good care of your children, but what I'm saying is, when you place yourself first, it's not selfish, it's necessary, because you show up as the best version of yourself. You show up as your highest self. So that's when I had started to realize that there was such a great need to combine this beautiful nutrition, but with the mindset tools, right? So I have the 8-week course that I put together with the catalyst, with the program, because I'm like, you can't have one or the other, but you really have to have both. And I find it so interesting for myself that this has become like my passion and purpose, because my conversation with food my whole life was, it's a horrible relationship with food. And it was just from, it's our upbringing, right? And what's been said to us, and how we've handled like maybe trauma in our younger years, and whatever it is, it's what it is. And I know that. And it's just so interesting, that like, oh, of all things, like me, talk about weight and nutrition and this and that. And it's just so funny. And I thought sometimes they say our greatest challenges, well, maybe we go again, be grateful for it all, because I went through all of that. Like I don't have, 4 years as experience as a coach. No, I have an entire lifetime of experience.
Right.
And I bring that experience. I've been coaching people every day of my life. Because we're selling people into something, our bullshit, our good stuff, or whatever we like, whatever it is. We're always like enrolling somebody into something. So what are you enrolling people into? Are you enrolling them into your powerful story, or are you enrolling them into your victim-y, like, woe is me stuff? Like, you're enrolling them, whether they're your kids, your family, the people around you. And you attract more of what you put out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You are embodying what you're saying is you are embodying that which you want to see, as you're representing what you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
And most recently I interviewed a girl named Rachel who created it's called a kindness box, but it helps you work with your children and teach them kindness, compassion, self-worth, consciousness. And she says, but also, are you embodying that as a parent? It's easy to say, oh yeah, I want to raise kind children. I want my children. And oftentimes people will say at the end of the day, that's what they want their children to embody is kindness. But then they celebrate the sports accolades or the scholastic accolades. But it's like, I love it. It's like when you talk about pouring from an empty cup and how women especially just give at the exhaustion of themselves, but they're not teaching their children how to embody self-worth. It's like when you're on a plane and they say, put your mask on first before you try and help someone else. Because if you put somebody else's mask and you're dead, then you're no longer there. How are you helping them then? So we must first, whether you have children or not, you must first help yourself embody that, so you are a representation. Other people see, oh, well, she's shining her light. Oh, well, he's shining. He's embodying. That means I'm giving permission. I'm giving permission to see my worth and value. I need to put myself first. And then I'm not just telling my kids, I'm showing my kids, or I'm showing the world.
Because they're, especially your kids, if you're a parent, because they're watching every single thing you do. Like, they're listening to every little word you say, and their beliefs and their thought system, it's for all of us, developed up through age 7. So even, like, oh my goodness, the money conversations we had in my house, like I first ask people now when they wanted to become like an entrepreneur of any type, I say to them, I'm like, tell me your money blueprint. Like, what's your story? How'd you grow up? What did your parents tell you? Because here's the thing, you can have all the skills in the world and all the heart and all the passion, but if you have this money blueprint that's like, it doesn't grow on trees, I am not a bank, you have to work hard for it, blah, 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 everything I heard, like, you're going to stop yourself.
Right.
So you get this, girl, you got to change
those limiting beliefs.
Yeah. T. Harv Eckert has a great book, Secrets of the Millionaire's Mind. It's like, I recommend that first for people, and then kind of go into that whole busting loose from the money game. It's a little woo-woo. So I love it. I know, it's amazing, but I'm like, start with this first. And then as you grasp that, then go ahead and move on. That's my suggestion anyway. People do whatever they want. But yeah, I love that. It's just, but our children are watching and listening. So it's about living how we want them to live, and really valuing ourselves and taking care of ourselves and realizing our worth. And it's not, life is about timing. That I've learned, and I now I appreciate that more. I can meet people where they are, and instead of me not understanding why you're still there or doing this and not doing that, whatever it is, now I just release that judgment, because I do understand it's about timing. And just like I couldn't hear my girlfriend for 6 months, it wasn't my time 6 months before that. Right. So whether it be for changing lifestyle habits, whether it be for taking some type of transformation program, whether it be whatever we're trying to have people enroll into in life with us, and to learn not to take it personally when it's not someone's time, and really love them, and don't try to wrong them. Nobody's wrong, right? And don't take away someone's power by thinking that you're the one that's going to help them, or you're the one that's going to fix them. I'm just here, and I'm doing myself for me right now, and what that leads for others is amazing, because it is about other people. So when I get scared, or I want to not do a certain thing, or it's uncomfortable for me, I remind myself that it's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
It's about other people, because somebody went before me, so I saw their light to follow them. And I'm like, now I finally embodied the fact that I'm like, Janelle, you people are watching, and you are guiding people, and people are like, you go first. That's how you have them step up, because you can't drag anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if they don't come along, it's okay, because I'm not that person. They're powerful enough, and they're going to create something in their life then that pops that light on. Some people don't see it their whole lifetime.
Mm-hmm. And you never know who is watching.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, like I've had so many people over the years come up to me randomly out when I'm out somewhere. Oh my God, you're Deepa Rick. Oh my God, you're hilarious on Facebook. Oh my God. And I'm like, I know you. And they are a Facebook friend, but they never post. They
Yeah.
never share. They never comment or engage with anybody's anything. And this has happened numerous times. And I'm like, wow, I made an impact. That person is watching. They're getting some kind of joy or happiness or laughter out of my silly ass, and I'm like, so that's why, you see these people, I'm cleaning out my friends list. I don't, I only delete people if like there's been a really bad situation that's transpired. But because you never know who's watching or what impact I'm able to make. And I'm not just going to delete people because they're not interacting or I don't see them posting, because some people, that's just not their thing. They love to observe and they love to watch. They do get that value, and maybe it does inspire them to see how much they're worth.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. It's so true. And when we have our new coaches that, we teach them for social media and interacting and how to, really create relationships with people, real relationships, and whether it be through, either business, but you don't know who's watching.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be amazing how, like, all of a sudden, after 4 years, someone's like, I've been watching you for 4 years. I want to try that stuff.
Yes.
I didn't even know you were there. Like, I didn't even know. So, whether it's just whatever that is for you, and you feel you have something to share, like, get on there and share that, and do it with consistency, so that, people are watching you, whatever that is for you, and it's funny that we're talking social media. Dear Lord, lately I've been thinking like, oh, I just, there's this whole algorithm and there's this and that. I have to be really honest. If I don't feel authentic, like getting on to have to post something, it's really challenging for me to like.
I'm the same way. I'm not going to make myself go live because I see other people go live every single day, because that feels inauthentic and very fake. But then then all of a sudden I might have this burst. Ooh, go live,
Yeah, right. I know.
Yeah.
Or even post sometimes. And I get it, like from a business standpoint, I get it. So it's like learning this beautiful harmony of like really doing what's true to me. And okay, so it's a business perspective too. Right. So, but that's really been caught up in my space. And I'm just like, yeah, like, I just don't really feel like saying anything to anybody right now. For a couple of days, I'm like, I got nothing to share. I just, I didn't have social media, by the way, so I was 43 years old. So people don't know this, but there is a very, like, I grew up with social anxiety. There's a very introverted part of me. And I love that part of me. Like, I create my little humble home and I'm like, just leave me here with my dogs. I'm good. And then I love people too, but there's like this balance. So when people, women, men, whoever it is, when they think they can't do something, it's like, I don't know social media. I don't this, I don't that. I'm like, me either. Me either, girlfriend. Right. Like, MySpace came out when I was younger. I was like, this is my space. If you're in it, great. If you're not, no. I accidentally signed up for a Facebook account a few years when it first came out. I thought I was going to someone's wedding photos. I said, oh, well, look at them on Facebook. I signed up and I was like, why are people trying to request me? I got off of there in 24 hours. So my two girlfriends from back home are still my best friends. They think it's hysterical. So when I opened up my Facebook page and I was 43 years old, like almost 5 years ago, right? I didn't know how to do anything. So if you're out there, if you're somebody who's like wanting to, I don't know, take on a new venture or do something new, like just do it. You want to start a business? Like after what we've been through recently in our world, so many more people are looking at becoming an entrepreneur. So many people are realizing that they have to have more than one stream of income and more than one way of doing things, which I think is beautiful, right? Yes. So just go for it. Learn. Like I didn't know anything. I didn't know how. Now I know how to do summits. I know how to do email sequencing. I know how to do all this stuff. That stuff I just learned last year. So just go for it. Try new things. It's about getting out of the box, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Boxes don't exist as far as I'm concerned. My box is no box.
I love that. I love that.
you brought a book up called by T. Harv Eker. Have you ever
Mhm.
read The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles?
No, but I've heard that name.
It was written in the 1930s. It's a book. It'll take you about an hour at the most to read,
Oh, girl,
and
I'm all over it.
but it is about mindset.
Okay,
It
perfect.
is it is one I think it's probably one of the best books if you read between the lines that's ever written on personal growth and awareness of self and how you create your every frickin' day.
You do every day. You
Through
create everything. Yeah, there's
yes,
nothing
The
outside of us.
Science of Getting Rich. It is I think it's on
Okay.
Amazon for $5.
Oh,
$5.
girl, I'll
Yeah.
read it. I can read a book in
Yeah.
an hour fast. I'll do that
Yes.
every day, seriously. But yeah, we do create everything. There's nothing outside of us. And that's a lot of part of the transformation training when I learned that. And it's all about energy and thoughts. And I think something that was very beautiful for me, the way I like to look at it, is I look at my surroundings and whether that be the people around me, my environment, how's my business going, what's my bank account look like, who's showing up in my space, who's joining me. It's all about energy. And so a lot of times we take out the beat up stick when things aren't going the way we want them to, and we beat ourselves up for things, right? So then we emit more of that energy. The way
Mhm.
that helps supports me is looking at everything and going, okay, this is beautiful feedback from the universe, and it's just feedback. So if like someone comes into my space and does me wrong, how did I attract that? Like, what am I doing? You
Mhm.
know, or something like isn't like whatever that is, or when beautiful people and opportunities and everything shows up in my space and the bank account's growing, that's a good thing. Like, let me do more of what I'm doing. Like, I'm in alignment. Let me stay there. But I attracted a horrible car accident in September. I don't know where that came from. I was like, I got out of the car. I was like, this really? I'm here? Oh, that's interesting. I mean, the guy totally like nailed me, rips my car off, everything else, jacks up my back from the previous, right? So, but I just looked, I lied about the whole situation, and I was like, huh, this is what I'm attracting. So I'm standing at an accident scene, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, I wasn't angry. I was just
And
so,
once you're of that mindset, once
yeah.
you're of that mindset, and it is go, well, but yeah, and
But
it's
I
like
attracted
what
it,
about
whatever it was.
overwhelmed but again, we don't understand, but there's some form of silver lining, a blessing, maybe
Yeah.
who
Where do you get to clean things up? Like, look at your life. What's working? What's not working?
crashed.
What might have contributed to like some chaos in that time? What was I cleaning
Yes.
up? And a lot of times, what is appearing isn't from how you are right now, but it's from the energy you put out just a little while back, right? So also take things with a grain of salt because that's not who you are right now. So who
Hmm.
are you right now?
Yes.
Who are you when you woke up today?
Girl, I'm gonna tell
Right?
you right frickin' now. Okay, so this is a hilarious, it's not hilarious, but I just turned another one of my rooms into an Airbnb. I just had a brand new deck built for 5 years. I'd needed this deck and was able to finally get that taken care of. And we burn. Okay, so I've been having this lower back pain
Mhm.
for going on almost a year. I mean, like it's bad. And we did this. We burned the. Thank you, Siobhan. Siobhan says food is medicine. It's amazing what a healthy diet can do for mental health, and she's loving the conversation.
Oh,
But
thank you.
my boyfriend, yes, and we burned the wood. And I straight up got a. He lives at the end, like near in a wooded area, so there's no houses
Mhm.
around. And I'm out there dancing naked
I love
around this fire, do it just like thanking the universe, just being in this state of gratitude and dancing and calling in and saying, embodying everything that I'm wanting, that I'm manifesting, that I'm already
Yeah.
manifesting, and girl, I'm gonna tell you right now, the back pain is gone,
Mm.
and now the feet pain, that like the back of my left heel, and I noticed it when I sat down in the chair next to Tyler. I was like, and this always, my back is usually excruciating when I first get out of bed. Those first few steps is just locked up.
Mm.
That has not been happening since.
Wow,
But
good
then I
for
wanted
you.
to say something about something else. So I've been doing all this work in my home, and so we're expelling energy. We're getting rid of energy and bringing in new
Mhm.
energy. My dishwasher door is like, it's not necessarily broke, but it's off a little bit. So
Mhm.
you have to like twist it this way and then push it for it to close. My front door knob is locking up, and like it seems like shit's breaking. And I'm like, but that's a manifestation of this crazy intense energy that's been going on in my home
Yeah.
with creating all this good and beautiful, great stuff. And again, it's like, wow. But and you and I kind of get that. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm sure Siobhan does. She's of similar mindset. She's my co-host for food therapy. But
Awesome.
it's like some people be watching this, be going, "Yeah, okay, Steph, you crazy girl, you nuts. Shit's just breaking because you need to buy something more, something
Right.
different." It's like all of a sudden, when I'm doing this stuff for building onto my home,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm telling you, energy is it's
Yeah.
wild.
Well,
So,
when I realized all that, right? When I did realize, like, really embody the fact that we do create it all and stuff, I was like, I gotta clean myself up. I was like, I make happen, but I was like, I make happen. Like, it's not.
yes,
So if I can make it happen like that, then for me, it's becoming very intentional with my thoughts, every thought. Not just some thoughts, every thought, because unfortunately, we think the same thoughts 80% of the time, and
mhm.
95% of our thoughts come from our subconscious mind. So what are you thinking? So really, should Joe Dispenza, love him, right? His
Oh,
work is like,
yes,
yeah, right? So really becoming intentional with my thoughts, my words. My poor mother, she's like had to become a different person to be around me, because I won't allow that in my space, those words,
right.
because she unfortunately doesn't realize what they cause. And I'm like, mm-mm. Or if
Oh
someone's
yeah,
when people are
poverty
doing
mindset,
everything,
scarcity mindset. I can't have, like, I'm very sensitive to it
I'm
when somebody
protecting
is.
myself.
Yeah, absolutely,
Like,
absolutely.
it matters that much, right? When I had a
Yes, it
car
does.
accident and people were more upset about the car accident than I was, I said, I want to point something out to you. You're more upset about this car accident than I am. You might want to look at that, because to me, that doesn't even make sense. Are you making it about me, because are you making it about you and stuff you have going on inside? Because to me, I'm cool. That was a great car. I had it a long time. I loved it. It was paid off. It treated me well. Never had a problem with it. It was awesome. Right?
Yeah,
Like, I don't really understand. So
I
it's something
know.
you get to look at, though.
I know a woman who has had cancer 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
and she's survived. Dismantled it all 3 times. And I remember the most recent time she had cancer, like, was about a year and a half ago, maybe two. And I was like, I was talking to her. I was like, oh my, and she's like, oh, it's no big deal. I got this.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I think energetically is of the mindset, and don't quote me on this, is that she manifested it as something that she needed to heal, and I'll just heal it. And she freaking does.
I love it. I love that. And that's why, why when I look at my back issues, I think, it's
Hmm.
so amazing. I use my back to whatever reoccurring trauma or underlying story that I'm not even seeing yet. Because if I was, clearly I'd have no pain and no issues. And that's not the case. So I'm very aware of that. And I love her mindset. Well, we talk about that even in healthcare. If someone tells you you have 3 months to live,
Hmm.
what do you think that does to a person? How dare you ever? Who are you to tell someone how long they have to live? You might have seen other people for the majority only live 3 months after this, but what did you tell them? Like, why is that? What are we predicting? What are we creating? And
Exactly.
so I don't appreciate like that kind of anything in
Words,
anybody's space,
words matter.
Yeah,
Words
big
matter.
time.
And Siobhan says, I am sensitive to the language and energy of others. I love your attitude, Janelle.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. It's so
Yes.
true. You start to realize, and it's like, yeah, you don't get to speak to me. I did spend some time, like last year. Last year, I spent a lot of time alone. I was going to say,
I think we all did. Yeah.
right? But even prior to that, I spent a lot of time where I really don't. Like, I spent a lot of time inward and by myself, and just because I wasn't. Hmm. So maybe people understand this. I wasn't developed or strong enough at the time to be around the world, because you can't escape the world. And
Hmm.
so there's stuff that goes on, but I don't want to ignore every person that doesn't speak my way and stuff like that's just silly. But I needed that time for myself to continue to grow and understand and grow and get myself to a point where, okay, I can go back out and be around any group of people and not allow their energy to affect me or their words to, because who am I to tell you how to speak, because it doesn't suit me. Like, no, it's about me.
Right.
And how do I get to the point? So I do realize now that I am doing more integration around people and hang out and things that I want to do before, because that energy was but I've learned to protect my energy. I've learned
How
to,
do you protect your energy?
it's all mindset, girlfriend. It's all
Okay.
mindset. It's all mindset. And when you start to realize, I don't know at what time it happened, but when I started to realize that really nothing you do, everything, if we say everything comes from within us and nothing is outside of us, then how is there any kind of energy that's affecting? Now I feel it. I took the dogs to the groomer today. Their energy, I wanted to kill them because I did like for 30 minutes in the car. And I even said to my dogs, I'm like, energy's contagious. I was like, I
She
said
said,
that.
what now?
Energy is contagious to my dog because they're totally little anxiety puppies, they're like the teeny little guys. But I can feel it from my dogs. Like that might sound silly to people, but seriously, I was like, oh my God, I got to get them out of the car. But really just in knowing my threshold of how much time to spend and then how much time to come back and do inward. And I think doing mindfulness practices every day, doing the meditation, doing the quietness, doing the journaling, doing the practices keeps it so that you can just go out and play in the world and it doesn't bother you, right? And things happen. I don't say I don't feel my emotions. Friday, I was peed off, man. I was not a happy chick and I knew it. There was different things that were kind of stressful. And I said, I'm going to give myself to 1:00. 1:00, this gets out of my space because things are really good right now. And I don't have time for this.
Right.
So I was pissed off. I called my mom. I told my best friend. And then it was about 1:30 and I was laughing, smiling, and out to lunch with friends.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with venting.
No,
because
you
staying in that space of complaining.
Yeah, you have to experience your experience. Don't ignore it. You get to be upset. You get to be angry. But is it ruling you? How long are you going to do it for?
Right. Thank you.
Time frame. Is it a day? Is it a week? Is it an hour? And for me, my time frames have become less and less. Because I realize it doesn't serve me. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's stealing your minutes. And speaking of protecting yourself, I have a girlfriend who does this. She does Reiki and all kinds of energy work as well. And she talks about opening and closing your chakras when necessary. Opening your chakras when you're needing to receive, but then to close them down when maybe you're going into a public setting like the grocery store, or Target, or someplace that you're shopping. So you don't pick up on other people's energy. And it's just a matter of envisioning quickly each chakra just closing. And so, but yeah.
I love that. I had my Reiki 1. So that's where I kind of learned, because when you're doing Reiki for others, you get to make sure none of that crosses, through each other, and you're just the conduit, right, for it to come through. So I think just putting the white cloud too, like a white lining or a silver, just sort of walk around in your bubble if you need to.
Yeah.
So I said to someone when I fly on a plane, I was like, before I even knew about any of this, I always envisioned that plane enveloped in white and angels. This sounds going to start sound crazy, but angels, the wings. And that my flight would always be safe, like I always envisioned that.
You mentioned angels, but those angels are within you.
Yeah.
Everything that exists, which exists, is just a different conglomeration of atoms from the periodic table. Yeah. Everything is of itself. Everything is one.
Yeah.
Whether you call it an angel, whether you call it, Jesus, what Buddha, whatever you want to call it, it's still, you are it. It is you.
Yes. And when I learned that more and more, so I've been studying A Course in Miracles, and I have an amazing Chris DeSanti. He is a guide, because he'll always say he's still a student, of the teachings, but he's incredible. And so I take, with him, it's like 8 weeks at a time they do it, and they do it on Zoom. You could be live or listen to recordings, and it's just really opened my mind. But sometimes I get a little too woo-woo, so I get to step back sometimes.
You can be woo-woo with me.
Yeah, well, I'll start to feel not grounded. No, I mean like when I'm doing some of these
I see. I got you.
practices. I'm like, okay, that's good for today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing my morning meditation earlier, and it's where you start in your crown chakra, and you're just observing, and whatever images, colors, whatever comes, and then you go down to your third eye, and then you're examining, and then you're in your throat, then you're in your heart, your solar plexus, your sacral, and then your root, and whatever images come to you, and whatever messages, and just I see a lion a lot. I see a lion.
Oh, really? That there was
big
someone
time.
else. There was someone else who shared about that, and I don't even know where I was or what trainings, but
Yeah.
they talked about the lion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
well,
Interesting.
Janelle, this has been absolutely an empowered conversation. Thank you. I so appreciate you coming
Thank
on.
you. This is
Um,
great.
so I've got the links of how everybody can get a hold of you, but I know that you've got a special offer going on right now for people to be able to work with you.
I
So share that
do.
with my guests,
Yeah, I
and we'll
love
put it in
that.
the
So
links in the
I
show
have a
notes as well.
link. Yes, we actually have an incredible, this one's for the ladies. So like 30s, 40s, 50s, an amazing 90-minute masterclass that's coming up. And it's with my friend and person, another trainer,
Mhm.
Jennifer Grace, who I just adore.
Yes.
She started as my mentor and then we're friends and now we're business partners. But there's a 90-minute masterclass and it's about aging with grace and it's about learning about telomeres and nutrition and mindset and just so many great tips and tools and tricks. And it's going to be so valuable. And it's free. We're waiving the fee for it. I have a link that will be free. So anyone who registers for it, we'll put it in the comments, I
Oh,
guess you can do,
yeah.
or share it to they can come and do it for free. So I can share that with you and we can put it there.
Yes,
Um,
please do.
I will. But yeah, that's going to be so powerful. And then, I always have my 8-week training courses and Facebook. I'm really good on Facebook. Instagram, I'm there,
Yeah.
not as much as I am on Facebook, but
Mhm.
definitely you can reach out to me, message me if you have any questions. I have a lot of free tools and stuff to share with
Can
people.
you put a link to your 8-week course as well? So what
Yes, I'll
I'll
send
do
that. Mhm.
is this is shared on YouTube right now. We're live on YouTube, but we're also live in my Defo Rickenlicious and Sign You group, and
Oh,
then my
awesome.
personal page. So we're being streamed to
Okay,
three
perfect.
places. So share with me those links to your 8-week course, and then the freebie that you spoke of, and I will put them as comments under each area.
I
So
love it. I love
yeah,
it. Very good. Yeah. Good stuff, girlfriend. Well, it's been great. Thank you so much for
this
having
has
me
been
on
you're
here.
so welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoyed this.
Well, guys, thank you to everyone who was on and watching with us live and commenting. We had Siobhan and Kim that I can see, and that's probably because they're on my personal page commenting. If you were commenting from, or if you were watching from DeFi Reckonlicious and you, I may not have been able to see that. But either way, don't worry. We're going to post all the links of how to get a hold of Janelle and everything that she's talked about. And make sure to join Siobhan and I tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Food Therapy, a hilarious Stephanie and Siobhan shenanigan show that it's become. And we're making protein bars, delicious, healthy protein
Oh,
bars.
nice.
And we're going to be talking about all things living your life on purpose and with intention. So I'm super
Mm,
excited about that.
I
So
love
stay
that.
right here, Janelle. I'm just going to say goodbye. Yeah, another great conversation. Thank you, Siobhan.
Thank you,
Yes.
Chiffon.
All right, guys, y'all have a wonderful Wednesday.